Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we are continuing our journey through season 3 of Muppet Babies as we watch and discuss 3 more episodes from October of 1986 titled Muppets in Toyland, The Muppet Broadcasting Company, and Kermit Goes to Washington.
It should be Mr. Kermit Goes to Washington.
I was trying, a little bit, but also like for the rhythm of Mr. Smith, there's like one too many syllables. Mr. Kersmith. I mean, as we'll discuss throughout these episodes, they're not great at naming things on Muppet Babies. Episodes and characters within episodes. But that's not all we watched, because we also watched Jim and Kermit making an appearance on Joan Rivers' short-lived BBC talk show, Can We Talk?
Joan Rivers in England doesn't seem like it would translate. And I guess it didn't, because it didn't last very long.
Nope.
But she just seems like such a perfectly American person. And you can kind of tell that the British people in the audience are a little bit like, oh, what are we doing? Well, I don't know what to make of you.
Well, and it feels like a direct, like, Tonight Show call-up. And that's not how they do things over there. But before we get into talking in earnest about Muppets today, Sam, I had a question for you. What's your favorite band?
Oh, I was thinking about this exact thing. I was driving this weekend a lot, and I was thinking, like, people ask me that, and I don't have an answer for it, and I feel like that's okay, right?
I'm not going to judge you for, like, not having an answer. I think I'm more curious because I feel like if you had asked me 10, 15 years ago, I would have a list of 5 bands for you that I would absolutely list. And they were probably the bands that I also listened to on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I realized the way my music listening goes now is usually I will get in my car, I will open up YouTube Music, because that's what I use, and I will hit a thing called My Super Mix, which just creates a playlist based on what they think I will like.
Interesting. I have a playlist called My Big Playlist that is 24 hours long, and it's just songs that I drop in on Spotify, and that's usually what I listen to. So my favorite band is My Big Playlist. Well, I guess I agree that when I was in high school, it would have been easy for me, because I would have said Built to Spill. I would have said The Strokes. I probably would have said the White Stripes at some point in my life. But it was easier also when you only had a few different CDs you could listen to.
Right. When you had a limited amount of space on your iPod, you had to be more vicious with what you chose to load up on there.
Yeah. And I've also, unfortunately, never really been an album guy. I usually listen to Radiohead in album form, because Tom York got really mad about it once, and that's stuck with me, that he was like mad about people.
You don't want to piss off Tom York when you're listening to music?
Don't want it to get back to him. But also those albums are kind of like, especially some of their like middle ones are definitely like trips through a sonic soundscape. So I would probably add them to that. But I don't know. These days I just listen to, I love Bruce Springsteen, as we've talked about before. I love Elton John a lot. I like piano guys. Like, I really like
Piano Man, I believe he prefers.
Yeah, Billy Joel.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to think of. I really like Billy Joel. I like songs that are fun to sing along to also. So I'm more of a song guy, I think, than I am a band guy. But if I had to like pick one right now,
you don't have to. I'm not forcing your hand here.
Okay,
I was just curious about your music habits, I think. Because I was also driving in the car this weekend listening to music and realized that, if I was forced to pick, I think all-time favorite band would probably be Fall Out Boy for me. Yeah. Mostly because I've never disliked really any of their albums. I've liked them since 2003 or 4. And when I do hit that super mix button on YouTube Music, they are guaranteed to come up every time I hit it. So
So the
I will,
algorithm says your favorite band is this,
well,
and
and
you
I don't
believe it.
skip it. So I probably
Right.
hear a Fall Out Boy song every day.
Oh, what don't you skip the most is interesting.
Because like if I pull up my super mix right now, if I hit play on this right now, I can tell you the list. It would play in order: Blink-182, Taylor Swift, Korn, Green Day, Noah Kahan, Slipknot, NSYNC, Phoebe Bridgers, Rise Against, Linkin Park, Joyce Manor, Andrew Garfield from Tick Tick Boom, back to Taylor Swift, Fall Out Boy, Sabrina Carpenter. Like, it's all over the place on my mix.
And these all feel true to you?
Oh, I will not skip any of those.
Okay. Corn, huh?
Oh, absolutely. One, high school Matt, super into Korn.
Wow, interesting.
And current day Matt, Korn is the solid background work music when I don't need to focus on anything.
Uh-huh.
I will just toss Korn on shuffle, and I can work great to that.
Let me see if I shuffle my big playlist. We're such different people, Matt.
Absolutely we are, because the Strokes,
Ooh.
White Stripes, they don't come up ever on this list. I don't dislike them, but they're never going to come up on my super mix.
I think I would say of any of the music that I listen to regularly, when I listen to Built to Spill, that's what, and I think this is what the inside of my head sounds like. I'm just the most basic ass like millennial white guy.
I think maybe
Unfortunately.
like Neutral Milk Hotel is what gets closest to that for me.
I saw you posted a Twitter about Neutral Milk Hotel, and I was like, that is a fucking good song.
Yeah, no, in the Airplane Over the Sea, one, it gets stuck in my head constantly.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my wife about this, and she was like, "Why? Why that song?" And I was like, "I think it's just a perfect
It's a
song.
really good song.
Like
Why
from
would
beginning
you
to
even ask
end,
that
lyrics,
question?
music, everything. It's just so
Uh-huh.
perfect that I think that's why it gets stuck in my head." But yeah, I'm wondering what our Venn diagram overlap
There's
is.
got to be some way we can figure
White
that
Stripes
out.
I would put in there. White Stripes I do like a lot.
Okay.
I don't listen to them that often, but I do like them a lot. So they're definitely in that middle overlap range.
I'm trying to think of what could even be. Do you listen to Led Zeppelin ever?
No. I get in those moments occasionally where I'm like, I should probably appreciate Led Zeppelin more. Let me put on Led Zeppelin 4 and listen to it. And I'll do that, and I won't dislike it, but I'll never listen to it again until 7 years later when I feel guilty again that I haven't listened to it.
Yeah. I don't know. I bet our Venn diagram is so
They're
thin.
barely touching.
They're just
It's just
kissing.
Jack White holding it together like Chris Evans, Captain America with the helicopter thing.
Or Spider-Man on front of that train. That's what I was thinking of when he's on the train.
Either way, a Marvel superhero is holding our friendship together. I'm also, though, with you on the fact that I shuffle more these days.
Yeah.
But if a artist releases a new album, I will go listen to that album all the way through at least a couple times.
There's just so much music out there. I have a pretty wide but not very deep, shallow, if you will, knowledge of music. But that's exciting. I actually really love music. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. There's this phrase, all art aspires to music. Have you ever heard that before?
I have not, but that's good.
And that music is the ultimate art. And Rachel thinks that's stupid, but I think it's true. And whenever people are musicians, I'm so jealous of them.
It is like a superpower.
Yeah.
People pull it out, and like I have some musical ability. Like I don't play my guitar very often, but I've released music in the past.
Yeah.
It's out there in the world if you want to track it down. But I have not released anything recently. But I do feel like people who consistently release music, which I think is probably one of the reasons why I like Taylor Swift so much, aside from actually enjoying her songs. But it's just like the consistent output. I'm like,
Yeah.
how does your brain work like that?
Yeah. I can't wrap my head around that either.
Oh, the Mountain Goats. You listen to the Mountain Goats?
I don't listen to the Mountain Goats.
I thought we might have one.
That was so close, but no. That whole genre of music, I don't touch that.
We'll find something someday. Tom Waits?
No.
Damn it.
No. You're a complicated guy.
I'll take it.
I'm not as complicated as you. I just listened to a lot of alt garage rock when I was in high school, and it's just burned into my brain.
I think for me it was the eras of like there was the hardcore like, pop punk era where I had a mohawk and blue plaid pants with zippers
Yeah.
all of them. And then I had my corn era where I was very into metal and Mudvayne and Power Man 5000 and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go back to grade school and like 6th grade I was super into like NSYNC and Britney Spears and Backstreet
And you
Boys.
have country in there too?
Right before that, I grew up on country music from my parents.
Yeah.
And my dad was into Metallica and my mom likes the Beach Boys. And it's like,
Whoa.
so I think the problem is I have not like I just keep Katamari, like that's the right
Yeah.
word, right? Yeah. I just keep rolling all these
Yeah.
things into a big ball, but I don't eliminate any of them from the rotation.
The humans are just big catamaris. I think that's what that game was trying to teach us. I genuinely do think that's what the game was trying to teach us.
Probably. We're all just Katamari or those trash ladies from Labyrinth.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely one of those trash ladies from Labyrinth. If she was like putting all my stuff on my back, I'd be like,
Thank you for my
I'm
stuff.
keeping all of it. Yep. I love to live in this trash heap with you.
I've been in one of those recent moods where I was like, I should get rid of all my stuff. And then I don't do anything about that.
Yeah. I have also kind of been feeling that way. Maybe it's because there's some age that we're hitting.
I mean, we're definitely hitting an age.
Yeah. I don't want to be hitting it, but it's coming. It's coming anyway.
Well, let's ignore our impending aging, Sam, and, talk about some Muppets. So, how about you tell the people what we watched this week?
First, we watched a segment from the October 3rd, 1986 episode of Can We Talk? A British talk show hosted by Joan Rivers, featuring Jim and Kermit. Joan interviews Jim for like 40 seconds before getting bored and asking Kermit to come out. He does, and she asks him all the normal, annoying questions about his relationship with Miss Piggy. Except it kind of works when she does it because that's kind of her thing and she knows how to do it. And she escalates it to the point where Kermit has to tell her that he doesn't have genitals. Now, let's put ourselves back in the place of our hypothetical 80s child who is doomed to always watch Muppet Babies. It's October 4th, 1986. You sit cross legged on your living room floor, stroking the shag carpet as you idly consider what you'll be for Halloween this year. Freddy Krueger? Skeletor? Spider Man? The options are truly unlimited for the modern American child. What is not unlimited is the choice of what to watch on Saturday morning. The options are pretty much limited to Smurfs, Flintstone Kids, or the Muppet Babies at this particular hour, and all the kids at school seem to like the Muppet Babies, so you pick that just so you'll have something to talk about around the lunch table. This week's episode is called Muppets in Toyland. Scooter saved up all his money to buy a new toy, Transgo Jobot, a marvel of modern toy engineering, remote controlled and packed to the robo gills with non lethal weapons. All the babies are jealous watching Scooter play with his cool new toy, so Nanny tries to make them feel better by bringing them a special surprise, a box of her old, boring toys from when she was a kid in 1932 or whatever. The babies are skeptical at first, but eventually start to imagine all sorts of fun, neato stuff that you can do with old crap until their imaginings are interrupted by the very real danger of Scooter's toy going nutso. It smashes up the playroom for a bit before the babies work together to lock it in the closet, where it explodes into a million pieces. Scooter's not sad though, because he can use the broken pieces of his cool toy to make lots of small, pathetic bad toys. Next up, October 11th, 1986. Last week's episode of Muppet Babies reminded you that violent robot toys kick ass, so later today you're headed to the store to buy an Optimus Prime costume with your mom. As you wait for her to get ready, you begrudgingly watch another episode of Muppet Babies. This week's episode is The Muppet Broadcasting Company. A storm knocks out the lights at the baby's house, and since they can't watch TV, play computer, or really even see anything at all, Nanny decides to bring them something that every baby loves: a battery-powered tape player and cassette tapes of old radio plays.
Probably also from the 30s.
Which is all, yeah, Nanny's really going down memory lane. After listening to a couple of them and getting inspired, the babies decide to narrate their own radio adventures. They do, and gosh, do they have a lot of fun. So much fun that when the power comes back on, they start watching TV, but they get bored because imagining a story is way more fun. So they put a blanket over the TV to keep the party going. You, the viewer at home, like TV and decide that you will not be pivoting to a radio only media diet. You turn off the television and head to Kmart with your mom. Finally, October 18th, 1986, you sit on the couch, watching TV as usual, and you're simply too lazy to get up and change the channel when Muppet Babies comes on. So you watch Kermit Goes to Washington. The babies are all super sick of Piggy making up the rules of every game that they play and changing them whenever she's about to lose. The babies threaten to revolt and institute anarchy until Nanny intervenes and gives them a book about democracy, a system of government in which there are never any issues with inequality or powerful people changing the rules to fit their own whims. Left to their own illiterate devices, the babies hold a sham election in which Kermit is elected president. The other babies form a legislature and pass a law declaring that everyone must buy Piggy a present for her birthday. You turn off the TV knowing even less about government than you did before that episode started. And then nothing too exciting happened in October 1986. But Janet Jackson had recently released her third studio album, Control, which is the album that shot her to #1 on the Billboard charts and made her the superstar that we know her as today.
Well, elsewhere in the world of the Muppets around this time, there's only one entry in Jim's Red Book, and that's from October 6th, 1986. And he writes, VTR, the Christmas toy in Toronto.
What does VTR mean?
Videotape recording, I am guessing.
Okay, cool.
But this means they are filming, or I guess videoing, the Christmas toy up in Toronto. We'll be watching the Christmas toy, as everyone does, in early July. But they are filming it here in October 1986. It was written by Labyrinth contributor Laura Phillips and features a whole new lineup of characters, which are toys that come to life in a playroom when the children are not around.
Sounds like somebody got an idea.
The main character in this is Rugby the Tiger, performed by Dave Goelz. And most of our, usual puppeteers are also hanging out, except for Frank Oz. He ain't there.
As usual. What's he doing? He's been hanging out with Audrey for too long.
Yeah, he's like, have you guys seen the size of this puppet? This is way cooler. I'm friends with
toting
Steve
it
Martin
around.
now. Bye.
Can this guy be in your show? No? All right, fuck you.
The special ends up airing on ABC on December 6th, 1986, and apparently a variation of this group of core cast Muppets ends up being part of a new series produced by Brian Henson in 1994 called The Secret Life of Toys, which I guess we'll also have to watch at some point.
I've never heard of that. So it's like a spin-off of the Christmas toy that came out like...
I'm not sure how tied together it is, but it does seem like a direct sequel series. But again, having seen neither of these things, I cannot tell you.
Who knows?
But I have no idea what, the public perception of the Christmas toy is. So if you're out there listening, let us know online. Have you seen and enjoy the Christmas toy? And what should we prepare ourselves for?
The perception is probably little to none.
But getting into what we watched today, first up from October 3rd, 1986, Can We Talk? With Joan Rivers. This was a talk show that aired on BBC. This was the premiere episode of that show. And,
oh, wow.
And it only lasted 6 episodes.
Okay. There's very little energy, I feel like. Like, they're not working with Joan Rivers. This audience, the guests, there's something off about it.
There's a weird bad energy, and it specifically feels like it's coming from Joan Rivers, which is weird because other times I've seen her host things like guest hosting The Tonight Show and other things. She's great. So I feel like maybe somewhere earlier in this show, something went awry that threw her off energy-wise.
Threw off the people in the audience as well, maybe. I think one thing is maybe she needs a band. Did you have a band?
I have no idea. This
there's just
6-minute chunk is the most I have seen.
There's no sound. It's a completely silent room she's in, which sounds tough. And Jim's kind of a tough interview sometimes, too. So probably starting off with her saying, so who's your favorite puppet? And him saying, I like all of them. She's like, okay, we got to get Kermit out here.
Yeah, you have to earn Jim's interest in your interviews.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a show where her sidekick was Peter Cook, popular English comedian. And then the guests on this show, on this episode, were Twiggy, Barry Manilow, and Dame Edna.
Oh, wow.
which I was curious if this was the only time Dame Edna had ever interacted with the Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that is the case. But there is a Muppet mention from Dame Edna, apparently on the Dame Edna Experience. Rudolph Nureyev was a guest, and Dame Edna asked, "Who's your favorite partner that you've ever danced with?" And Rudolph said, "Miss Piggy." And Dame Edna said, "Miss Piggy, well, I've never really much seen the point of the Muppets."
Rude.
Right?
What a slam from Dame Edna, who seems like a natural fit to hang out with the Muppets.
I think Dame Edna on the Muppet Show would have been great.
Yeah. A whole special. Just Dame Edna and Miss Piggy. That could be great.
But Joan Rivers introduces Jim in a sort of backhanded way, saying he just finished directing a real movie with real people.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that made him mad. And that's why he's
like,
kind
"What
of
the
clammed
fuck?
up.
Labyrinth is the first real movie I've directed? Thanks, Joan. How about the one
You were
you're
in one of them, you freak.
I guess he didn't direct that one. But she does immediately bring up Muppets Take Manhattan. And she says, "You made us get drunk."
Right, and I kind of remember talking about this.
Yeah, so Frank Oz said the only place I remember hearing about this was on the Tough Pigs podcast that he was on. And he talked about how they were trying to film this scene with him and Joan Rivers, Miss Piggy and Joan Rivers, and it just wasn't working. The energy wasn't there. And so they went next door to a bar, got a little drunk, and came back and knocked it out of the park.
Right. So Jim would have had very little to do with that decision, I feel like.
Well, and he very quickly jumps in and says, "I didn't do it." So I think that was probably a Frank call of like, "Hey, how about we go knock back a few? We come back and try this." I mean, he was the director, so he probably had some say about that. But she
that
also
was a fun little callback for just me and you. I got excited when she said that. Like, yeah,
right, because it goes nowhere in this interview.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere other than Joan Rivers says, "You made us get drunk." One favorite part of that, it makes it sound like Jim made Joan and Piggy get drunk because she's talking about working with Miss Piggy and says, "You made us get drunk." But yeah, the fact that it doesn't go anywhere, and again, this is probably mentioned elsewhere, but the only other place I had heard this story was from a recent Tough Pigs episode with Frank Oz. So it did feel like that reference pays off like 40 years later.
Yeah, across the arc of time.
But she does ask Jim who his favorite puppets are, and he says Piggy, Gonzo, the chef, and Kermit because he's been around the longest.
Gonzo is an interesting one to throw in there. I feel like I never really heard Jim mention Gonzo at all.
It is like when we hear a Muppet say another Muppet's name, and you're like, "Oh, I guess it does make sense that you know their name."
That guy. Yeah, you know that guy.
But I've never heard you say it.
Sometimes you are that same guy.
But yeah,
did he make Gonzo? Is that right? He carved him out of the foam block?
I believe that's the story, is that they were doing the Great Santa Claus Switch, and they needed a puppet for the cigar box Frackle, and Jim carved Gonzo out in like 15 minutes or something like that.
His little forgotten baby.
But then Joan takes a turn and lets Jim know this is an adult show. So if you bring out Kermit, he better tell us the truth.
I'm going to say some nasty things to this little guy.
Well, and I think Jim at first, when he hears this is an adult show, is like, "Oh, yeah, of course. No, look, we're showing the puppet rods. We're showing the secrets." Yes. Like, he's like, "Yeah, we're giving away all the secrets. Look, you can see I'm controlling Kermit right here."
Classic loser behavior from Jim.
Yeah, and Joan goes, No. I'm here to ask about sex and racism.
They talk a little too much about the second one, maybe.
Yeah, she asks if he finds any prejudice because of his skin color, which Jim unfortunately leans into. And this is something I feel like we've seen maybe once before, where they're talking about warts and frogs, and he calls it a racial slur.
Yeah, that did seem like something he's hit on in the past.
Yeah, and notably, when he says that, the crowd does not laugh at all.
Yeah.
They're laughing at other things they're doing. They're laughing at Kermit, joking about being a puppet, all this stuff. The moment Kermit says that's a racial slur, and says it 2 or 3 times,
yep, no one was
crowd,
ready to hear that.
You know, that crowd was on the right side of history there. But Joan does ask him, if I kissed you, would you turn into a prince?
And this is classic. We got classic horny Kermit back. We haven't seen this guy in a long time. But then he starts to be like, well, we could try and find out. What do you want to do, Joan? You want to go have sex right now? Just like he would have said in the 60s.
Yeah, it was like Jim disappeared for a second and Kermit became real.
Yeah,
and he's just like,
it really was.
We could try it.
Yeah. He's yearning to be a real man.
Well, and then she pivots then to asking about frog legs on menus, making him uncomfortable. That doesn't really go anywhere.
No,
So
not
then she
really.
asks him if women come on to him because he's an international major star.
And the answer to that is we've seen it many, many times. They used to at least throw themselves at him every episode of Muppet Show and in all the interviews he used to do before that. But he doesn't really talk about that.
He doesn't, because the more she presses him and asks who his ideal woman would be, he goes, well, there's this pig, and it's dangerous to my health if I talk
Yeah.
about other women.
I guess a lot of that stuff did happen before he knew Miss Piggy.
Well, I think he even calls back. He says, she'd break me in two.
Yeah, I liked this way into it because it felt real without it feeling like the same kind of deflection there where they do where he's like, oh, I'm not going to say one way or the other. It's like maybe somewhere along the way he also thought, I need to have a better answer for this. I'm sick of saying the same thing over and over again. But I usually hate that kind of thing, but this one I could get on board with. I think when everybody's asking about it, like this kind of person has to be the person to ask about
Yeah.
it. Somebody who's really gonna like needle him in a fun way instead of just be like, are you gonna get married? And
Right.
then Jim, you can tell, is visibly annoyed and says, I'm not gonna answer this question. But it's no fun. That's no fun.
I think the difference is I'm going to compare us to Joan Rivers right now.
Terrific.
We are genuinely interested in the answer.
That's right. They're asking it like a child would ask it, which is annoying. Like a kid's just like, are you gonna get married? And Joan Rivers like, are you fucking? We all have to. It's time to just tell us. It's 1986.
And no, I will not let you get away from
Yeah.
this question. I need an answer, Jim. I won't let you leave this to. You can tell me off air secretly. You can whisper it to me.
But
I just need to know.
I have a lot of questions about the canon of the Muppets, and I just need to know what you think about. I wrote a manifesto. Here it is. Just a few simple questions for you to answer, Jim, or else.
Well, and then it does a thing that I am sure, plenty of talk shows did in the past to people like, Burt Reynolds and other stars,
Mm-hmm.
where they were a little less subtle with their questions back in the day.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers just pivots to, are you sleeping with Miss Piggy?
Great question, Joan. This is what everybody wants to know. They're tap dancing around it. You got to pin this guy down.
Well, Kermit very smartly responds, you can't ask me about this. I'm on Sesame Street, for goodness sake.
That was pretty good. Yeah. And then at that point, I was kind of like, could he actually get in trouble? This does seem like nowadays, if he did that, Disney would definitely be like, Jim, you got to come talk to us.
Yeah, Matt
guess not
Vogel's
back
not
then,
gonna to talk about how good Kermit is in bed in an interview.
Matt, did you say Kermit didn't have a penis? You can't say one way or the other about Kermit's
No, he has a good penis. I don't know what to say here. What's the right answer?
Not that. I'm so sorry. Then they
Yeah.
push the button and he gets dragged away.
Well, Joan won't let up and asks Kermit to rate himself in bed 1 to 10. And Kermit tries to deflect, saying, are we talking about sleeping? Because I'm very good at sleeping.
He's good at sleeping.
And she says, no, we're talking about sex. Do you think you're a good lover? And that's when Jim finally gives in
It's
and
kind of
says,
genius.
yeah, no. Kermit stands up a little bit and he's like, well, no, Joan, this is the complete Kermit that you're looking at.
There's really not a place I ever thought we would go with Kermit. This is like he was talking to us.
Well, I think we will see a little bit of this kind of Kermit in the future when Steve
Oh.
Whitmire is in charge in the mid-90s.
Oh, yeah, I guess that was a little bit more of a realistic guy, huh?
I've seen some rowdier Kermit stuff
Mhm.
in the mid-90s that, I think around the time Pepe becomes a star, I think other
Yeah.
Muppets were trying to...
They get a little more randy as well.
Yeah.
This was the age of Austin Powers, for crying out loud. It was absolutely wild to see Kermit look at his own crotch and be like, there's nothing going on down there.
What do you want, Joan? This is it. But the audience loves that joke.
That was very funny, yeah.
But Joan says, so there will be no little Kermits. And Jim, again, very smart marketing brain, goes, well, we do have a show called
You heard
Muppet
about a little
Babies.
show called Muppet Babies. And now it gets interesting again.
Because Joan says, well, whose are they? And Kermit says, well, that's complicated.
It is complicated, isn't it? No, it's complicated because nobody thought to even think of whose they are.
Yeah, we don't want to answer that question, Joan. Please move on. Can we talk about the sex again?
The answer will horrify you.
It's all nannies. They're all nannies' kids.
She laid a clutch of eggs.
This
and
was
this
her
is what
litter.
happened. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That was a weird interview. It went places I didn't expect.
It was super boring for an interview where Kermit spends a big chunk of it asking Joan Rivers if she'd ever eat a human leg. That's the most boring part of the interview.
Well, because I feel like it's one of those interviews again where they don't want to play the same game.
Yeah.
Him asking if she would eat a human leg could have been a fun back and forth joke section, but doesn't go anywhere. She just kind of wants to move on to her next thing. Well, then the following day, on October 4th, 1986, the Muppet Babies episode, Muppets in Toyland, written by Jeffrey Scott, airs. And the kids kick off the episode playing with cars and having an off-road race, which of course we see intercut with real footage of off-road cars and drag races, until
the most shocking moment in the history of Muppet Babies happens. So
and
far,
that
at least.
is the same show where one time a koala crawled in through the window.
This is much more mind-boggling, honestly.
Absolutely. It immediately called back in my brain to the koala episode. But somehow that episode made so much more sense compared to this one.
I have a lot of questions about Scooter after this episode, really.
Yeah, and I have some favoritism accusations to throw at Nanny.
Yeah.
So a giant flying robot flies in through the window screaming, "Attack!" And he captures the Muppets. He ties them up.
That's not the shocking part, though.
The shocking part is Scooter climbs in the window after the robot.
He was outside. Someone was allowed to be outside.
The first Muppet Baby confirmed to be outside of the nursery, or I guess outside of the house. And that window seems like it's a good 3-4 feet up off the ground.
I would guess that, yeah.
And he's just stepping up into it in a way where if there's not a ladder outside that window, I don't know what's going on.
Duh, he's like spider climbing up the outside of it, skittering. Yeah, but it just is such an unnatural. It really is like strange. It's strange to behold.
It's also strange because the background behind him is just blue sky with clouds. Like they didn't draw a backyard or a playground. Yeah, a tree fort or something. Like it literally is just blue sky. So you're like, are they
could be 4 stories off the ground for all we know?
Yeah, this is an 8th story nursery or whatever. Which is even more impressive that he's getting in through that window.
So the babies are tied up.
And we learn that this robot is called the Trans-Go-Joe-Bot. And yes, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and GoBots had all aired a couple of years before this episode.
Yep, and they were still hot. They were G.I. Joe, I think this year was the biggest selling toy line. The mini G.I. Joes, 1986. Maybe it was 1985. But they were all still, they all still continue to go strong. But definitely, this was the height of, if you weren't, most kids were watching those shows and not Muppet. Well, maybe not Muppet Babies, but everything else, all these other shows, these were like the syndicated after school. You went home, you watched these shows and bought the toys.
It's probably a situation where if you're watching Muppet Babies, your older brother's probably watching Transformers.
Yeah, or you're playing with a Transformer while you're watching Muppet Babies, and they want you to look at it and say, "What have I done?
I've murdered all my Muppet friends."
Yeah.
Well, Trans-Go-Joe-Bot even sings his own, close to copyrighted theme song. Yeah. Sounds an awful lot like the Transformers theme song.
GoBots is lucky they squeaked in there. GoBots does not really stand on the same height as Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Absolutely not. But I think it is a good name for a parody toy.
Yeah.
Who I think must be voiced by Frank Welker.
Yes, totally.
Notably, the voice of Megatron.
Shame on him, this episode says.
Betraying his own his own kind with the Transformers.
Pick a side. And he did, and it's money.
At this point, I'm thinking, Nanny is buying Scooter a computer and a robot. And all these other fools have like, one of those dumb paddles with the ball that bounces and just like, I have slinky glasses. And
Kermit
like,
does have that big train. That's a pretty good thing to have
I
too.
guess. But at the time, a computer and a robot.
Very, very expensive. That's true.
And this robot is not to be trusted because
But she didn't buy it for him though.
We do learn that later.
Because what she says is that he saved his money. So she's also giving him money.
Yeah, we learned that he saved for 6 months to buy this robot.
What's he saving? They get an allowance? What
Great
What are the other kids
question.
buying with their allowance?
And Sam, it hit that theme song. I did the math.
Okay, great.
Since nothing this cool actually existed at the time, it still doesn't exist. There is no robot you can buy like this
That can shoot ropes and nets and fly around. Yeah.
and have conversations and things.
And kidnap you and try to kill you.
Yeah, unfortunately, doesn't exist. Didn't exist back then. The closest thing I could find, which is very far from the mark, is the Tomy Omnibot 2000.
Okay. Okay.
You've seen this thing before.
I'm
It's
sure
the
I
thing
have.
the 80s robot Muppet is based on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this thing is maybe the closest thing you could get at the time of this episode, where it's the size of a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a robot. It would move around. This thing was $600 at the time. So Scooter,
That was $600?
it was $600.
That thing was a piece of crap, probably.
Which is like $1,000 now.
It didn't do anything. It just rolled around, didn't it?
Yeah. I think it maybe brought you a soda if you wanted.
It could
but you'd have to
hold. Yeah, it could hold a
control it.
can.
So Scooter would have had to save $100 a month, which I guess is like a $25 a week allowance.
Dude's rich.
But is Nanny giving all of them a $25 allowance, which is like $70 today? Could you imagine getting a $70 allowance?
So how much would that be if she gave all of the Muppet Babies $70? How much is she shelling out of her pocket?
I mean, what? There's 8 of them.
Yeah.
That's $560.
An animal just eats his right off the bat, I think, probably.
She wouldn't be paying Bunsen and Beakers, so she'd only be paying the 8.
Oh, yeah.
Bunsen and Beaker, wherever they come from, have to get their own allowance.
Yeah. And babies also, it should be mentioned, don't get allowances. They're babies.
No, these babies don't do anything. Like, they don't leave the house. Why would they need money?
And the more we learn about them, the more I think they shouldn't be wearing diapers. None of these guys should have diapers on.
Well, and only one of them wears diapers.
That's
and he's
true.
the
I
oldest.
guess that is true. Yeah, that is
and
true.
He's the only one that is acceptable for him to poop outside.
Yeah, you're right.
I guess frogs and bears can poop outside too.
And pigs.
Okay, half these fools can poop outside. It's no problem.
An animal can probably. I think animal would get arrested.
He's also
actually.
wearing a diaper, to be fair.
Yeah. He is a baby. It is Muppet Kids and one baby.
This robot is immediately ominous. Not only does it yell attack as it jumps through the window, it also steals Skeeter's doll. And when Scooter takes it away from him, his eyes flash ominously.
Yes, he's alive and he hates everything. He hates all living beings.
Nanny is not excluded from that list.
No.
Because he thinks Nanny is an intruder and he ties her up too.
He's going to blow away Nanny.
Thankfully, he's only armed with Nerf darts.
And ropes. He's got lots of ropes.
He does have a lot of rope-based projectiles.
Big, thick ropes.
Well, of course, as soon as all the kids see what this robot can do, they want one. And that's when Nanny tells us that Scooter saved up for it himself and he bought it. So, kids, you don't get a cool robot because I guess you don't make any money.
Or you're bad with your money. You're really bad with it.
Which I would
or
imagine
Scooter's
so.
like selling stuff on the internet, maybe.
They don't have the internet in that nursery, I don't think.
You don't think so?
I guess some of the things he's done on the computer would probably require the internet.
Yeah.
He's not inserting a new floppy disk every time he's trying to make something happen.
1986 was pretty early for anybody to have the internet, huh? Well, that's why they're part of a government project. So they do have the internet.
They are the test case for at-home internet.
Yeah. They're like proto-Zoomers. This is the first edition of Zoomers.
It is weird to think about if the Muppet Babies aged in real time from this episode forward, that we'd be dealing with like 41-year-old Muppets.
They're just like us.
But if they aged, I don't want to like picture what an actual sad 41-year-old Fozzie would be.
Well, that's Fozzie though, right?
I guess
Don't you
so.
think?
That's true.
He's
all right.
sad.
You're not wrong.
I could I could say they're all 41. They all seem like they could be 41. Scooter's
That's
not.
true.
Scooter stops aging at some point. He's stuck at like 15 to 18. Miss Piggy, we don't know how old she is. She lies about it. But the rest of them, I mean, Rolf's 40. Rolf's easily in his 40s.
Rolf's got a 48 vibe to him.
Oh, yeah. He's pushing 50.
So Nanny tries to get the kids to have fun without a robot because she can't afford, eight $600 robots.
$600 robots. Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, here's a bunch of my old toys. Use your imagination.
What a loser. They all are losers.
Well, they also immediately find her toys extremely boring.
Yeah,
they look in the
suck.
box and like,
These are so old.
yeah.
But that is a good old lady move of like not understanding that different toys are different. Don't you feel like when you were a kid, did you get really bad presents from old people?
I am sure. I don't remember any off the top of my head, but I'm sure I got some bad generic robot toys.
Yeah.
When I wanted a Power Rangers.
When I was a kid, I got like a knockoff animated Pinocchio. Not Pinocchio, but just like a different
Like
movie.
a Pinocchio.
A Pinocchio. And I think I was like actually rude to the old couple that gave it to me, who are our neighbors, and I feel bad about it still. But yeah, or like your parents come home, they got the wrong toy.
Yeah.
There's so many different toys, and you know exactly which one you need.
Oh yeah,
But
I
they
need the
have no
Batman in
clue.
scuba gear, not the Batman in his jungle
Idiot.
camo.
This is night vision, Batman. You absolute failure of a parent. So yeah, Nanny thinks all toys are fine, but she's wrong. These are wooden toys, and that's the most boring kind of toy that there is.
So the kids go ask Scooter to play with his robot, and they're all mean to him.
Yeah, they like steal the thing out of his hand.
Yeah, they distract him so that Gonzo can sneak up and steal the remote from him. But suddenly Kermit's like, you know what, guys? Forget the robot. Let's go play with Nanny's toys instead.
Yeah, and at that point, you know that by the end of the episode, Scooter's gonna hate his fancy robot toy and want to play with the boring toys.
First up, they find a Jack in the Box, which suddenly, as soon as they find that, they are transformed in their imaginations to being super tiny in an old-timey toy store.
Woohoo.
They're racing toy cars, riding motorcycles and trains, and kissing toy soldiers.
Yeah. And this is pathetic too, because you know in their heads they're like, I really wish I could be playing with that robot, but I guess this is fine.
Yeah, I can imagine I'm driving a motorcycle constantly. How often do I get to play with a real robot?
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course, the toy soldier asks Piggy if she'd like to dance, and she says, but there's no music.
But someone's ears are burning.
Did someone say music? Rolf's here.
Guys, wait a minute. I gotta push my piano over here.
Okay, we're ready for music. And then they sing the weirdest song I've ever heard.
It sucks so bad.
It's called
such a bad
I
song.
Never Get Tired of Toys. And the best way I can describe it is it's a mashup of early Beach Boys and The Who.
Oh, it is early Beach Boysy. You're right. Yeah, that's a very good description, Matt.
Because like most of it is sort of 50s Beach Boys. But then there's this weird calling all toys that
Kinda
does
like
not
Dream
feel
Police sort of style or something.
Yeah. That part alone feels very 80s.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of it feels very 50s.
Yep.
And it's just about loving toys.
They love their toys. They take good care of them. They're never gonna get bored of their toys.
Feels like a lot of parent propaganda in this one.
You have to respect your toys, kids, because they don't grow on trees.
Also, like your old toys that you already have. You
Actually,
don't
even
need
better,
the new shiny robot toys that everyone else is getting. The cars and motorcycles are fine.
Yeah, even better, like this box of old toys from your cousins that are grimy. They're grimy, but they're still fine. They stink, but that's okay.
They're a little sticky.
They're always a little sticky, aren't they?
You can't
Yuck.
really clean them no matter how hard you try. The water just beads off.
Yeah, what is wrong with children? They're just coated in something.
Well, after the song, we get a much more Transformers-like Transgo Joe-Bot invading the toy store and ruining the other kids' fun times.
He looks badass when he goes to that door. He's kind of like anime style.
Yeah, he's full on like Gundam
That's
style in this.
Yeah, right.
And we learn that Scooter has lost control of the Transgo Jobot.
And this is real.
Yes, he cannot turn him off. He tries, and when he turns him off, the robot says, like, please
No.
reload my suction dart.
Yep. No, thank you. I will kill you.
Why would you? Scooter does it, though.
Well, because the robot's threatening. He's got pinchers.
Yeah, but if I turned off a robot and he's like, well, please, I promise
Give me
I'll
my
sleep, but
gun?
give me ammo. It's like, I don't know about this.
Maybe I would trust him.
Next, the kids, when they're searching through the old junky toys, find a kite, which
I hate this
Gonzo.
part so much.
Yeah, if you're looking for the stretching for time section, it's this.
I thought we had gotten past this. Isn't it an episode where a robot's going crazy enough to fill a whole episode? No, it's not apparently.
Yeah, I think all 3 of these episodes have very obvious stretching for time segments in them.
Yeah.
But Gonzo ruins the kite by sticking his nose through it, and he takes off through the window. So, of course, the other Muppet Babies have to chase after him with their unique hang gliders.
They all are like, here, take this. They all have, specially made hang gliders just for them.
That's a new thing they're doing, too, that I noticed. And maybe this has happened in the past, but like in this batch of episodes specifically, I noted a couple times where all the kids are playing with stuff, but they have very specifically themed things for each of them.
Oh.
When they do the hang gliders, like obviously that's in their imagination, so do whatever you
Right.
want. But later on, when they're playing with the boats, in the 3rd episode we watched,
Oh yeah,
they
right.
each have a very specifically like themed boat to their character.
That's true.
But this, they're all hang gliding in their imagination. Piggy's got a heart that looks like a Valentine. Skeeter's got an eagle. Fozzie's is a tomato. Rolf's is a treble clef, which seems like the worst shape for a hang glider.
Not useful, yeah.
And Kermit's got a weird dragon-looking thing.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It's like a yellow, orange, and purple dragon, I think.
You could have had a lily pad. Come on.
Could have. That would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But Scooter also chases after him in the Transgo Jobot, which sees Gonzo as an unidentified aircraft.
And is Gonzo really flying around?
It's a great question, Sam.
Because he does get shot down.
Well, and the kids chase after him because he flies out the window.
Yeah.
They chase after him as if he has actually gone out the window and they're afraid for him.
Yes. That is right.
And during their chase, he's like, hey, guys, why are you so worried? I'm just in the nursery. And they're like, Gonzo, no, we have to catch you.
Haha, nice joke. Stupid. But a robot that can shoot suction darts and has ropes on it would be really useful for helping your friend who's flying away on a kite.
That's true. He'd be way more helpful than you on a hang glider.
Yeah, what are you going to do if you catch him? You'll both plummet to your death or what?
Yeah, just crash into him and you both die.
Yeah.
Well, Transgo Jobot does his one trick he has and ties up all Scooter's friends without Scooter's control. But this is, if you thought the last one was the stretching for time segment, surprise, we've got 2 in this episode.
I don't even know how they transitioned into this one. I can't recall.
Oh, it's the sweatiest
Sweaty, eh?
of all.
Dripping sweat, huh? Is it?
Because they immediately free themselves from the ropes. They're just like, hey, stop it, robot. And Kermit goes over to the box of toys and picks up a old medieval knight puppet.
Oh, okay.
And apparently that just makes him think of King Arthur. And now he needs to tell a King Arthur story.
No, Matt. Kermit Arthur.
Yeah.
Why would you replace the word king in that name?
Why not just King Kermit?
Yeah.
I understand you gotta make it clear to the kids that you're telling a King Arthur story.
They know. They know he's a king and kings have knights. It's fine.
But Kermit Arthur is just the worst.
It's no good. Also, you have real problems, kids. You can't escape into your imagination when there's actually a robot stampeding around. Please deal with that first.
Well, and you're really not gonna fix the problem by pretending to be knights.
No,
Like,
it doesn't
at least
make
do a
any sense.
sci-fi story or something.
Yeah.
Did Short Circuit come out yet? Pretend you're in Short Circuit.
Yeah, that came out this year.
See, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Or hell, how about they go to frickin' why can't I remember the name of the planet, Sam?
What planet?
Oh no.
Planet of the Apes?
No, the Transformers planet.
Oh, Cybertron.
Cybertron.
Why you
They
should
could
just
just
come to
do-
me with that question?
I just did. They could.
They could go to Cybertron where
The
all of his
whole
friends live.
finale could be Cybertron. But I will say, I did like this episode up until the King Arthur part.
This is where it was like really frustratingly close to a Fraggle Rock level of story, where it is kind of like cool to teach kids. I think there's another one later where it's like that was cool to teach kids about. Where it's
Yeah.
cool to teach kids, you don't need to have the most expensive best toy.
Yeah.
Like I know other kids probably do, but for them to just get so frustratingly close to like dealing with a problem that a kid would actually have, which Fraggle Rock does do.
Mhm.
But this is more grounded in reality and more of a place where you could be like, you don't got to worry about having the best toys. There's fun to be had with your imagination, but they don't even really like. That's not even really the lesson that they hit home exactly.
They kind of land there by accident
Yeah.
because the King Arthur thing doesn't really matter at all. And I don't mean
No.
just in like the dismissive way. I mean, literally, they do nothing within the story.
Yeah, you can tell that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, because when the story ends, they just realize, hey, the closet door is open. And they decide to shove the robot into the closet and lock it in.
Yeah, and at this point, Scooter is captive. Did you mention that?
I did not.
Yeah, the robot has
forgot
taken him hostage.
I forgot about Scooter entirely.
Yeah. And when they free him, he says, I thought I was going to be his prisoner forever. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
You were tied up with a string.
There is something that happens to Scooter later on in one of these episodes that I do need to discuss his ultimate
Okay.
fate.
Oh, no. Okay.
But on this, Scooter wins the day and pushes all the buttons repeatedly on the remote until the robot explodes. But they are able to spin it into a positive because they take all the pieces of the robot and they use their imaginations to say, hey, this part kind of looks like a car.
You know, it's just as fun as a toy. A broken toy.
Your imagination, Sam.
Oh.
Your imagination's the best toy.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Scooter is somebody who could have made something cool out of the robot, like an alternate thing. He could have been like, I built a little crane or something like that, instead of just like putting two pieces together and saying, this is fun too.
Is this a boat? I don't know. But that's where the episode ends, as the kids have fun with pieces of a broken robot.
Yep.
And we get the go bye-bye.
They were wild in this batch. There were some weird go bye-byes.
A lot of them focus on Gonzo, I'm noticing.
Gonzo gets the last line of every episode, and he gets to be go bye-bye man.
Yeah, in this one, he's playing with the Transformers toy, and he throws it, and it hits Piggy, which, kids, don't throw your toys.
Yeah.
So they go off screen, where we hear a bunch of violence happening, and we pan over to see Gonzo has been transformed into a car.
With
an
violence. Yeah.
An animal hops in and drives him away.
Horrifying. Now, these are all real. None of these happen in the imagination.
Yeah, this is the only part that's true Muppet canon, is the go-bye-byes.
All his bones are busted up.
He's survived worse.
How would you transform a flesh and blood person into a car that has spinning wheels? You'd have to rip a part of them off and put it back on.
Well, our next episode of the Muppet Babies is from October 11th, 1986. It is the Muppet Broadcasting Company, written by Jeffrey Scott.
This is the worst fucking name for an episode.
You think?
It's so boring. Company. The word company is in it.
I think Muppets in Toyland isn't a great name either, though.
That was a bad one, too. Should have been called Crazy Robot Goes Nuts.
Well, our old friends Bunsen and Beaker are over for the day. And they've set up an elaborate set of dominoes, mostly so the babies can argue about who's going to knock them over.
Mostly so they can fill up a couple minutes of this godforsaken episode.
This is the moment where Ralph says he should knock them over because he's the oldest. And during all this hubbub, Piggy, it almost seems like on purpose, but she also doesn't notice she does it.
She would deny herself pleasure if it meant denying pleasure for everyone.
Absolutely. But she kicks over the dominoes with the back of her foot. And Animal is the only Muppet who notices, and he gets to watch as all the dominoes fall. While we have a full minute, I checked the time.
Oh no.
Of domino falling footage with the clack, 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 clack. And in the background, just the sound of Muppet Babies arguing and saying nonsense at each other.
For 1 whole minute?
It's a full minute, and it feels like
No.
20 minutes.
That's not right. I checked out of this episode hard, and it must have been because that was taking so long that my brain was just like,
It's a actual
have time for
full
this.
minute.
"You're
A
you
24th of this episode is
It was-
domino footage with babies arguing.
This is a not insignificant amount of your life. You can't sit here watching this."
Are you saying that to the Muppet Babies or to us?
To me, to myself,
Okay.
my own brain saying it to me.
I was going to say, this feels like one of those moments where people are listening to this podcast and go, wow, I'm glad I didn't agree to watch the Muppet Babies.
This is the hardest trial of my entire life.
Sam, during this time of watching Muppet Babies, I wrote, watching these episodes is the longest hour and a half of my week.
It sucks so bad. And I love watching all the other stuff. When we watch Fraggle Rock, I'm like, fuck yeah. I could sit through 4 Fraggle Rocks, no problem. But these are the thing that makes me the maddest about Muppet Babies is when they do the cliffhangers. And I know that they have to because that's how cartoons work. But it's not real. It's so stupid that they're like, oh no, this guy's gonna beat us up. It's like if you just like thought that they weren't going to, they wouldn't.
Is Kermit gonna die? Find out after this ad for Transformers
He
toys.
can't. He's sitting on the sofa doing nothing.
We do get a moment of genuine fear from the children here when a sudden huge clap of thunder outside claps. I guess that's what thunderclaps do.
Does it? Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. I started that sentence and didn't know where it was going, Sam, if I'm going to be honest with you. But the power goes out after that thunderclap. And Gonzo turns into Sam for a second and claims that aliens are invading.
Hey, did I tell you I saw
You told us last
you.
episode or
Okay.
2 episodes ago. I'm not
Still
sure the order
Still thinking
release
about it.
of these episodes. But then they hear footsteps. Obviously, it's Nanny. But the kids think it might be a ghost or an
It's
alien. So they set a trap, which looks like one of those like bounce back pitching nets.
It's like a spike ball or whatever.
Yeah, but apparently they just had one of those hanging out in the nursery.
Not sure what the trap is going to be. But I was worried that Nanny was going to fall and hurt herself.
This is the episode where Nanny breaks a hip.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, Gonzo tosses himself into the net and ends up realizing, oh, it's just Nanny. It's not a ghost or an alien.
Mm-hmm.
But then the kids also realize, hey, Nanny, we can't use our computer, record player, or TV. What are we going to do?
Well, if only it wasn't a show based around not having to do any of that stuff to have fun.
If only the entire last episode wasn't about things that weren't involving power.
Yeah, and she says in this one, your imagination doesn't need a battery. She should have said that in the last episode.
Maybe they thought of it. The last episode came out and they're like, ah, shit. You know your great line for that? Nah, just stick it in the next one.
It's such a leap to be like, lights went out. What does this episode be about where the lights go out? Old time radio shows.
It is quite
What the fuck?
Quite interesting of a
Shadow
leap.
puppets. Make a shadow puppet episode.
Or because they accidentally do that a little bit in this one. They make a shadow puppet. Like they grab a flashlight and Gonzo gets scared by a shadow on the wall. So it could have been a shadow puppet episode.
Yep.
Well, yeah, Nanny tells them that when she was little, she'd listen to radio dramas and pretend I was in the story. And apparently she's got a bunch of these tapes from these old programs.
We're learning too much about Nanny's life.
I like it. I kind of like it. So cassette tapes were developed in 1962. Who transferred these old reel-to-reel recordings of radio shows onto cassette tapes for Nanny? Because to me, the vibe is that she used these tapes to record off the radio and is now giving those tapes to the kids. But there's not a chance
that originally she did it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And these shows are all based on like 40s radio shows.
Well, my dad used to have a reel-to-reel player that he'd make cassette tapes with. So
okay.
Some burnout college kid probably.
I guess, yeah, we don't need the full explanation. I just was realizing that the medium itself didn't exist when these radio shows existed.
They didn't have time to explain a reel-to-reel player, which is basically just a really big tape, right?
Yeah. But I feel like Nanny's actually being helpful here Whereas a lot of episodes, I feel like she would just walk in, hand him a flashlight, and say, "Have fun with your imagination,
That's
kids."
what in the next episode, we'll get to that, but she does it big time in the next episode. This one also was a moment where I was talking about earlier. This kind of is a cool thing because she sits there and explains to them how old radio shows used to work and like what they were. And it is kind of cool to take a moment to explain like a past technology to a child and be like, this is how we used to have fun. This is just the only way we could do it. And like learning about a different art form. That's cool.
I almost wish they had leaned into it a little bit more with like their roles as the characters.
Somebody should have been making sounds and stuff.
Well, Animal was the only one
right.
who leaned into it. He was the sound effects guy.
Yes,
Everyone else was like, we'll just do whatever we want.
Yeah,
but
that's
they
true.
should have had like, I'm gonna be the producer. I'm gonna be the blah blah blah. Like, Rolf can do the music. So
Rolf would say that about himself. It would be like,
Rolf can do the music.
Yeah, I was gonna say like in that part of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It's like, I think Rolf would be great at playing the piano. Like, none of the rest of us know how to, Rolf. So I don't know what's your problem is.
If you insist.
I couldn't. I really couldn't.
Well, the first adventure we get is Kermit Midnight, based on Captain Midnight.
Is that a real thing?
It is a real radio show from the past.
Okay.
All these are based on real things. Like anything they do in this is based on a real radio show that existed at some point.
Right. Oh, Captain Midnight looks cool. He looks way cooler than Kermit does, who's just dressed like Indiana Jones.
They got one outfit for this guy, and they're like, yeah, that's what you're going to wear.
He's got a tiny imagination. I guess we've seen that before.
Well, the next adventure is the Adventures of Sherlock Bunsen and Dr. Beaker. I know we talked last time about the voices being different in this season with Dave Coulier stepping in for Baby Bunsen.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, it doesn't sound that much different from Howie Mandel's old Bunsen. But there's times where Baby Bunsen starts to sound a little like Mr. Woodchuck.
Of course he would have to.
This felt a little bit more elaborate than the average Muppet Babies imagination plot.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Mostly because of what happens next. The solution here is allergies, much like in Bunny Picnic.
Bubble allergy.
Because they run into what they think is the thief, and they make him react to his bubble allergy from the pipe. But it turns out it wasn't the thief. It was the chief of police who had already solved the crime they were trying to solve. And now he's going to arrest Bunsen and Beaker for assaulting a police officer.
It's just overly complicated. And also in your wildest imagination, this is the adventure you have? You getting arrested?
Well, that's
for
true.
Being a bad detective?
Well, and if you were going to pick two Muppets that would get arrested for assaulting a police officer, they're not top of my list.
Oh, they would get away with it is the thing. That
Animal,
police officer
number one.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Animal's the number one.
I really suppose any of the Electric Mayhem would be pretty high on that list, too. Miss Piggy would definitely. Because I think we have seen her do it before.
Yeah, absolutely. She totally would.
But all of them, really. I think they all would.
Skeeter would be the police officer.
Oh, except for Skeeter. Yeah. But Scooter would, like, Muppet Show Scooter would assault a police officer. Because he's just like, he probably gets in a lot of trouble and needs to get out of trouble.
But after that, apparently Kermit decides to abandon the entire premise of the episode, which is something he commonly does.
Yeah.
If you remember in the last episode, he was suddenly just like, forget the robot. Let's do our own thing.
Let's be King Arthur now. Completely negating the beginning of this episode. No good.
So in this, he says, why don't we put on our own radio show? Scooter has a microphone in his hand. The second Kermit says, anyone got a microphone? He didn't even have to go dig through the drawer.
He's a baby podcaster.
I guess if you asked me for a microphone, one, I've always got one in front of me at my desk. Yeah. But two, if you needed another one, I could grab you one from the closet in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, me too.
Well, Kermit's idea, he's going to host the Nursery Radio Hour. Potentially a better name for this episode. The first segment on the Nursery Radio Hour is Fozzie Burns and Animal Allen, implying that Fozzie and Animal are a married comedy duo. Then we get Rolf Ellington and his orchestra They play a song called Let's Hear It for Your Ears. And just like the last episode had a song all about how toys are cool, this song's all about
How
ears are cool.
ears rule. The whole time I was thinking, a lot of these guys don't have those. They do mention that.
Yeah, it's like an Andrews Sisters style song with Gonzo, Piggy, and Scooter dressed up as the Andrews Sisters. And they have a line that says, "Some are big, some are small. Gonzo's got no ears at all."
Is this really the takeaway we're getting from this episode, though? That listening to stuff rules?
I didn't connect that at all. I just thought that was a nonsense song that made no sense within the context of this. But I
It's
guess,
very close.
is that what they're trying to say, though? Is that, hey, since you can't watch stuff, you got ears, don't you? Well, then we get the usual stretching for time segment, because just when you think this episode is winding down, who's that lurking? It's the weirdo. Are you a Shadow fan? I feel like you have
No.
an inordinate amount of knowledge about the Shadow.
Is anybody a Shadow fan?
Alec Baldwin?
I just think
Did
it's
he play
funny
him in the movie?
I just think
Okay.
it's funny that there was a Batman ripoff movie with Alec Baldwin as the Shadow. That's all I know about him. I like the Phantom better.
They're both in that era of mid-90s response to Batman movies where it was like, well,
Yes.
what other superheroes we got? Let's make those
Yes.
into movies.
And sometimes you'll see them pop up when it's like, we're a toy company that wants to make public domain action heroes, and they'll be like the Shadow and the Phantom. Cool. No, I don't know nothing about him except he from that movie where he wore a fake nose and a big scarf and a big hat.
Well, Gonzo doesn't need a fake nose because he's got his own big nose.
He's got the real nose, which is clever.
Yeah.
A thing that kids wouldn't really get, I think.
No, not at all. Well, especially that movie didn't exist, so the movie wasn't in the public eye.
Sure.
So they would have to have read the comic or
their grandpa would have to be watching the episode and say, "Hey,
it's like the nose thing, right?"
Shut up, Grandpa.
Okay.
Another shocking thing does happen right after this because someone calls Nanny Mrs. Nanny.
Oh yeah, because I think it's Bunsen. Because obviously she's not his nanny.
No, she's Mrs. Nanny. Is Nanny married? She must be because she has a nanny. There's Nanny Jr. in the new Muppet Babies show.
Yeah, but I think that might be like a niece or something.
Oh.
I don't think it's her kid. So we don't know that Nanny is married or has children, but I would say Nanny's not married currently.
No, we never. Maybe she's a widower.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, no.
Otherwise, we have a guy who's in this house that we've never seen or heard from or about.
Yeah, he's just in the rec room. He's always watching TV.
Officer Carruthers or whatever. Maybe that's
him. He's back. They got married.
They got married in the meantime.
Yeah.
But just then the power comes on just in time for them to watch their favorite nighttime show. Creepy guy steals a lady from a ladder.
Creepy caveman show or something. They're watching the late night horror movie and it doesn't seem to be an issue for them.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a thing like that they should watch. I could not track down what this was. Sometimes you can look on IMDb or Muppet Wiki and it'll say what clips are shown in the episode. This one doesn't.
And it was an old thing. It wasn't like they recreated. Yeah.
No, it's just like an old caveman like going up a ladder and kidnapping a woman.
Yeah. And then they're like, this is boring. This sucks. And they throw a blanket over the TV. And then they perfectly lip sync exactly to the moment with the movie. It is their favorite movie. They know it exactly, word for word, second to second.
That's the end of the episode.
Yep.
Except for the go bye-bye, where Gonzo is a newscaster on the radio reporting that the phone lines are flooded with moms calling in because kids keep putting blankets over their TVs.
No kid's going to do that. Sorry, guys.
Do they think their influence was that big that as soon as we show kids doing this, kids are going to start throwing their blankets?
It's going to be another Soupy sales situation. You know that?
I don't. What happened with Soupy?
Soupy told kids to go in their parents' wallets and take money out of them and mail them to them.
I have heard that.
And it worked.
I mean, how
you got some money,
became a billionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, is that illegal?
No, it doesn't seem like it is. He got suspended from the radio for 2 weeks. But he said
Yeah.
that whatever real money he was sent would be donated to charity. It doesn't follow it up with, and it was.
Yeah, the soup kitchen, if you know what I mean.
That's genius. Oh wow, he allegedly received thousands of dollars.
I was just gonna say, Sam, we should just do this to our listeners, and then I kind of realized that's sort of what Patreon is.
Basically the same thing. We gotta trick some kids into signing up for our Patreon, though.
Hey kids, you listening to Kermit?
Yeah,
1, maybe you shouldn't be. 2,
don't be.
go into your parents' wallets and send us your Patreon dollars.
And then you have to give them the PO box.
Can you write the address on the dollar bill and just put that in the mail like a potato? Will it get here?
You can try. Why not try? This is the experiment, guys.
I don't think this is a why not try situation.
Everybody try this, and we'll see how many get through. It's for science.
If anyone, does want to send us something, doesn't have to be dollar bills. I mean, 20s at least, right? But you can send fan mail, I guess is the weirdest way to say it, to attention, Matthew Gatos, Commitment, P.O. Box 16434, Missoula, Montana 59808. And that means it's time to discuss our last Muppet Babies episode of the week from October 18th, 1986, Kermit Goes to Washington. Also written by Jeffrey Scott, unsurprisingly. The Muppets are competing in yacht racing with toy boats in the bathtub. Gonzo has a fantastic wood-carved Viking ship that looks just like him, and he wins the race. But Piggy says, no, we have to do 2 laps, and I'm going to throw all the bubble bath in the bath to ruin it so that none of you can see your boats anymore.
This is I feel like this is a very good critique of the power structures that exist in our society that
Okay.
they accidentally wrote and then went to the wrong conclusion on.
The solution to this problem is democracy.
Yeah, but just like she wins the boat race, then changes the rules, and then them saying that's not fair. It's like, just push that a little bit farther. It's like, yeah, maybe you should look closer at the tax system, guys.
Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock would nail this allegory today.
Yeah, totally.
But rightfully so, no one wants to play with Piggy anymore because she's a cheater. She changes the rules after the game's already started. Nanny explains that breaking agreements makes people angry, and Piggy apologizes, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And Nanny encourages the kids to all agree on the rules before they play games in the future.
But I guess that's actually the problem. They did agree on the rules. So she's kind of blaming them for this, in a way.
But Piggy takes this to mean that she should be the nursery's official rule maker. And she says she's a born ruler. We transform into an imagination segment where she is Queen Elizapiggy.
I can't do any more of these medieval-y kind of imagination scenes.
There's a lot of them.
They go there a lot, yep.
Well, we get Fozzie the court jester and Weirdo Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah. I wish we could talk to a writer of Muppet Babies. I bet they're all chain smoke. That's my guess.
I think for me, it's just the matter of it's weird how much they lean into Weirdo as Gonzo's thing.
Yeah.
Like everyone else, they just use their names in bad puns for character names, but Gonzo only gets Weirdo in place.
Yeah. And that's not even a thing in other media with him. He's whatever.
Really.
He's not a weirdo.
Yeah.
I do kind of continue to like Baby Gonzo quite a bit because I feel like he is weird in ways that adult Gonzo kind of comes up short every now and then. Like there's not a lot of evidence except for early Muppet Show that Gonzo is actually that weird. And I think we talked about before that he's kind of like the most normal one sometimes, which is weird in itself.
Right. Like nowadays in the Muppets, it comes out of nowhere when Gonzo does something weird.
Yeah. It's like, that guy's wearing a sweater vest. What is he doing?
Yeah, he's settled down a bit. Like, it's like Johnny Knoxville when he's like 70. He's not necessarily going to be doing the same things he was doing when he was 20, but you could pull him out of retirement every now and then.
Yeah. Gonzo married that chicken, and then he was like, did I go too far?
Camilla says I can't do this because she doesn't want me to die.
Yeah, or whatever.
But this imagination segment with Piggy as a queen ends in a revolt of the kids saying that Piggy shouldn't rule the nursery.
Yes. Anarchy.
Gonzo imagines being the ruler of the nursery, as Gonzolian. We do get the Gonzo involved in this one.
Famous anarchist Napoleon.
He is the emperor of the nursery. He creates the purge and cancels all rules and laws.
Yeah. And then this has maybe the grossest line we've heard in anything, where Miss Piggy says, if there are no rules, we don't have to wait till we're older to get married to Kermit. Horrible.
Yeah.
Don't write that.
Don't write that. Just don't.
Don't make someone say it. Don't edit it. Don't put it in a kid's episode. Don't sound mix it. Just stop.
Yeah, at a certain point, you had editing power on this episode, and you could have said, hey, what if we didn't say those words?
Yeah, but then this feels very pointed to me also. Like, this whole episode is fucking propaganda, man. Because they're like, oh, people having power doesn't work. And then Nanny's like, you know what works? Authoritarianism.
I liked that. This is the moment I was alluding to earlier when Gonzo says there are no laws. Scooter says, even the law of gravity? And Gonzo says, yeah. And Scooter floats away and does not come back for the rest of this scene.
Oh, no. He's up in space.
He just floats straight up and does not even fall down at the end or anything. He just goes away.
Gonzo did him like the kid in the Twilight Zone who continued to the cornfield. That'd be a cool episode if they met somebody who could make their imagination real. They're like, this is too scary, right?
Are you trying to introduce like a wizard into Muppet Babies?
Yeah. They need to do something, man.
But it can't actual magic?
It can't go on like this.
I think it's gonna.
Oh, no.
Well, Nanny comes in to see what the hell's going on in here. And they let Nanny know that we agree on the rules. We agreed on no rules. And she says it's not okay to be completely out of control.
Yes.
And so she puts them in time out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the first time we've truly seen like all the Muppets especially get punished.
In trouble. And they've done worse stuff than this too. Like, they destroy this playroom every day. Whatever they did wasn't that bad. Except for if this is propaganda. And they have to really teach you're going to get in trouble if you try to take the law into your own hands.
She tells the kids to stay on the couch, and you're going to sit there until I come back.
What this turns out to be is the sweatiest setup for a song that we've seen in a while, I feel like.
Because things escalate so quickly, Sam.
Yeah.
We pan over the children who are on the couch for all of about 5 seconds, and Kermit says, gosh, sitting still is awful.
It's not even explicitly stated that they are in trouble. Nanny just says, I'll be right back.
Yeah, she just says, sit there until I come back. And that could be 10 seconds. That could be 20 minutes, I guess. But immediately Kermit's bored. Scooter says, you know something? I think we're being punished. And then Piggy follows it up and says, you're right, Scooter. This is like being in jail.
These kids are not going to make it in the outside world. We're sitting on a sofa. This sucks.
We're sitting on a sofa that we could easily jump off of. This isn't like jail, Miss Piggy. But this does lead to the worst song we've heard in a while.
They're all pretty bad, my friend.
This one is a special kind of bad. I feel like this one is something you would see in... how to explain this? Your friend is like, hey, I wrote a musical. You should come see it at the bar on Friday or something. We're doing it one time only. It's at 4:00. Please be there. No one else is coming.
Oh, no.
And you're like, okay, sure. And you show up and they wrote this. Because this feels like a first draft musical.
Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah, I can see that.
When they're like, yikes, we're wearing stripes.
I thought that was fun.
Oh, that bugged me so bad.
I did. This is one. Sometimes I have to go back and like watch stuff over and over again so that it gets into my brain. And this was a song where I had to like click back a few times and be like, this time it won't roll off like water off a duck, huh?
Did it still?
It took me 3 times to get through the second half of this song. So this must have been a really bad one because the other ones didn't take me that.
The only part that was a little bit funny to me in that song was at one point Fozzie says, every day looks the same. and he pulls down like a picture on the wall that's like rolled up like an old school map.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls it down, and on that is just a drawing of the outside with bars drawn on it. So it's like a fake window. And fitting for the song that they're singing about being in prison, but also fitting for their actual existence where they don't get to leave and go
They'll get to
outside.
go outside, and every day looks exactly the same because they're drawn onto the same backgrounds for all of eternity.
But Annie comes in to teach the kids rules, and she brings her presumably outdated government book from when she was in school.
Why is she giving them all her old crap? It's a fire sale in Nanny's attic.
But she's just moving it to a different room in her house.
Yeah.
It's still her problem.
Maybe she's like, oh, they'll destroy this.
Yeah, Animal will eat this book next week. So she explains democracy to them as a way for them to learn how to establish rules. And that's being a little generous, because she kind of just says, democracy exists. Here's a book. I know you can't read, but I'm going to leave.
She says, look at the pictures and come get me if you have any questions. How, in pictogram form, could you ever hope to explain the concept of democracy? And yet, they do learn it.
And yet, they know way more than I ever anticipated.
Yeah.
Particularly, we'll get to Scooter. Kermit decides, based on what he is, I guess, looking at in this book, that they should vote for president of the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
First up on the ballot is Rolf, who we see giving a speech to a few dogs and says he'll fire all the dog catchers and guarantee one giant bone for all the dogs.
Very old school Rolf, very Jimmy Dean Rolf.
Very much, yeah. I think he's actually run for president of the dogs before.
I think we've seen him do it twice, actually, because they redid the same skit.
That's true. As Kermit points out, though, this is maybe the worst platform to run on when you're trying to appeal to a nursery where you are the only dog.
Yeah. I liked that this felt true to Rolf. Like this would actually happen to adult Rolf too.
Oh, especially Rolf's reaction, because Kermit's like, yeah, it was a great speech, Rolf, but you're the only dog in the nursery. And Rolf just goes, oh. And then it just moves on.
Poor Rolf.
Second on the ballot is Piggy, who does a TV commercial for her campaign and pretty much just ends up with vote for me or you'll be sorry.
Yeah, very Trumpian.
And once again, Kermit derails the entire plot of a segment of an episode and decides, it's time to vote. We've seen two candidates.
Yeah. And we all know who's going to win. Me. Piggy, I feel like I don't like this, that she oscillates so much between being the voice of reason and being unreasonable.
Because she should have tried to rig the election, is what she should have done.
That's what I thought she was going to do. I thought, yeah, that they go in there and count all the votes and it was all Piggy.
Yeah.
But then there's like that. Whatever. We'll get to it in a second. Oh, no, we won't, because they vote. And then they count the votes. And then they're like, do they shame someone for voting for themselves? Is that what happens?
Yeah. So I would have liked more campaigning before this, but when Kermit calls the vote, all the babies just go into the closet. What's happening? They take a piece of paper, they go into the closet, and then they come back and put it in a shoebox.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why the shoebox wouldn't also be in the closet. It's weird that they go in.
Yeah, well, when you vote in a voting booth, you do have to bring it back out to the elderly volunteers.
But Sam, what are they doing in that closet?
I guess they're coloring it green or pink. I don't know.
Right. They cannot write or read.
Yeah.
So their voting system must be picture-based, I guess.
Pink or brown color.
I don't know, but they do
no
vote.
No one votes for Rolf, right?
No.
Not even
the only
himself.
guy who gave a speech.
Yeah.
But Kermit beats Piggy in the vote 6-2.
It's basically a writing candidate. He did not do any campaigning.
And this is, when they shame Piggy for voting for herself. Because they're like, because Kermit says, I voted for you, Piggy. And then they're like, well, who else would have voted for her? And she's like, okay, let's move on. Let's ignore who else voted for me.
It's stupid not to vote for yourself. Are you crazy?
Why wouldn't you vote for yourself?
Yeah.
Rolf didn't even vote for himself, though, so maybe
Yeah,
it is.
he's one of the stupid ones.
So, what happens when you win the presidency? You gotta go to Washington.
Yep, and just wander around aimlessly.
So, of course, they show the Capitol building and say, hey, is that where the president works? And they say yes. And I just gotta say, bad job, Muppet
It's
Babies.
not true. Learn one thing.
Well, we're about to learn a whole lot, Sam. It's time to go visit Abe Lincoln. We get the info dump of all Muppet Babies info dumps where somebody's like, hey, who was this guy? And Scooter's like, ahem. Abe Lincoln was president during the Civil War and helped free the slaves and did the Gettysburg Address.
It's like when Linus gives his speech about the baby Jesus.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't know you had this knowledge in your head, little man. The fact that Scooter knows about the Civil War and slavery is shocking.
It's shocking because he doesn't know anything about anything else.
I guess he's on the computer all the time.
I suppose. But it's also the fact that Scooter is now the smart one is so funny also because it's just because he has glasses. That's the only reason that they made this Muppet be the smart one.
Remember when Piggy was the smart one?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She used to be like the voice of reason. And now
Yeah.
she is unreasonable, and I don't like that.
Well, when somebody asks what the Gettysburg Address is, Lincoln wakes up and says, 227 Gettysburg Road.
That guy, what a jokester.
So they get scared and they run away.
This is so stupid. I hated this part of the episode. It's just like you could have done something and you chose to do nothing. And that's every time that's what you do.
Well, as they're running away, Kermit bumps into a mysterious trench-coated man from the Secret Service, and they take him to the White House and immediately make him have a press conference, which is very boring and goes nowhere.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Oh, yeah, I do remember that part because the crowd is kind of like interesting, weird animals.
There are a bunch of, we get this occasion on Muppet Babies where a crowd of characters is just kind of mix of human and Muppet.
And Muppety animals.
But
Yeah.
none of them look like Muppets or Muppet animals or Muppet humans. They're just a weird, in-between, uncanny creature.
Yeah, and like you don't see them on screen long enough to comprehend the horror of them with your brain.
They all sort of look like sock puppets.
There's
If
like
they
one
were
that's a
animated.
bug though. I was like,
Yeah.
You really went off on this. You didn't gotta.
So Kermit goes to the Oval Office, where Piggy is having Rolf and Fozzie spruce it up, replacing all the ovals with hearts.
I thought it was also funny that he walks into the Oval Office and he's like, I know all the decorations are oval. The Oval Office is actually a circle, but they make it seem like he's like, now I know why they call it the Oval Office. It's like they call it that because it's shaped like an oval.
Right, not because everything in there needs to be oval to get this joke.
Yeah. It already is a circle, and you don't have to say, like, if you walked into the president's office and said, now I know why they call it the Oval Office, he would say, yes, you're right.
Did you not know that before? I do like though that they carried through this thing that, I'm guessing is actually true because it also happens in West Wing. That the First Lady is in charge of redecorating the Oval Office.
Yeah, I've heard that before, yeah.
But we learn that Gonzo is vice president. And he's wearing an adorable little suit.
I feel like he's got a Dick Cheney vibe too, where he's like leading from behind, you know?
Well, see, I was picturing him more as like the Leo McGarry. As like he's the
Oh.
right hand man. He's like, hey, whatever you need, boss, I'm here for you.
He did have chief of staff vibes too.
Yeah.
But also like I'm being sneaky. Like I'm gonna tell you what to do to serve myself.
I feel like I'm realizing this whole segment is here for the puns now, like, which isn't rare in Muppet Babies, but the Oval Office thing, and now they follow that up with a cabinet meeting where Kermit has to go meet with a bunch of different kinds of cabinets, including the Secretary of Toys and the Secretary of Clothes.
And Gonzo's skimming a lot of top. He keeps giving it all to the Secretary of Toys.
Yeah, this part does feel like it's a very pointed critique of the government, where the Secretary of Toys is like, we need more money for toys. And Gonzo's like, here you go. Here's all the money.
Oh, and it's defense.
And the Secretary of Clothes is like, we need more money for clothes. And he's like, yeah, sure. How about more money for toys?
Money for our toys, our little toys. And then I think it's weird that the cabinets turn out to be the actual Muppet Babies that are sitting around him too. Like when he comes out of his dream.
Yeah.
Putting money in one of their mouths.
Gonzo's just shoving dollar bills into Piggy's
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah.
But then we get a little bit more government because there's more minutes left in the episode. And then they now see the Capitol building again and say, this is where they make the rules in the House.
Idiots.
So we learn that Rolf is Speaker of the Doghouse. And everyone votes that everyone will get Piggy a gift on her birthday.
She's the whole reason you're in this mess in the first place. The rich
Oh.
get richer, the poor get the picture.
Also, this is not a solution to any of your problems.
Yeah, that
Like,
too.
you're-
No one was
you're-
being mean to Piggy.
The rule you're agreeing on is to buy the mean person a gift.
Yeah, this doesn't help any of you, and it's only reinforcing her bad behavior.
But Nanny comes back to check on him, and they tell her, we elected Kermit president of the nursery, which she completely ignores. And then they tell her that we're going to vote on our rules in the future. And she's like, good job. You guys learned democracy.
America. Sam the Eagle needed to pop up in this one, huh?
I mean, that'd be a great cameo.
Yeah.
Like, even just having him like on the presidential seal or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good.
Well, this is when Scooter lets us know that he's going to run for Congress when he grows up. And that's how they
Corruption.
end this episode.
Yeah. He'd be great at being like the Scooter. The adult version of Scooter would be great at being in Congress. He'd be so good at graft.
But then the go bye-bye comes on, and we see Gonzo on a postage stamp, which Animal licks, puts on a letter, folds him into a paper airplane, and throws them away.
I'm sick of these.
I
I
also
liked them
just-
when they were abstract.
Or just didn't involve Gonzo so
Yeah.
much. I don't know why he
Yeah.
needs to be there every time.
I feel like it's a carryover of the joke that Animals at the end of the Muppet movie, right? Like he says, "Go home."
I assume so, but
So why are they bringing Gonzo into this?
I feel like, yeah, give Animal more to do in
Yeah.
these. He's strong enough character on his own. But that's it for 3 more episodes of the Muppet Babies, Sam.
Mhm. It hurts.
How
It's
you holding
hurting.
up?
It's just the same every time, you know. So I guess
Yeah.
it's if it stays at this, I don't see how it could get worse. So there's that.
I have heard from people that it gets better.
Okay,
So, that's something.
but I don't know. How are you holding up?
This batch felt rough. And I'm sure people can probably hear it in our voices. I feel like we were a little bit more snarky and negative this episode than we are sometimes, which I think is a combination of it's Muppet Babies and we were recording this one after work, which usually carries a different energy than our Sunday morning recordings.
I just think people say the show is so good and they say it's the best kids show ever made. And that's just couldn't possibly be true. And I don't know what's wrong with people. That's what I think about most of the time. We're recording. It's
I don't know what's wrong with everyone else.
What am I
Is
missing?
your takeaway from this?
What am I missing that makes this be the best kids show? I haven't seen even a glimmer of it.
Good news for you, Sam. We've only seen 30% of Muppet Babies so
So
far.
I got plenty more time to try to figure out what's going on here, huh?
We still have 70% of Muppet Babies to watch.
That makes me sick to my stomach.
Well, Sam, before we get out of here, did you get to enjoy any non-Muppet Babies media this week?
I've been racking my brain and I don't think I really watched anything at all. Nothing worth mentioning. So
You rewatching any shows? Watching any more baseball?
yeah. I just started rewatching this show, Pretty Little Liars. You ever seen that show?
Nope.
It's
I know
It's bad.
nothing about that show.
It was the first show me and Rachel started watching together when we met because it
Oh,
was
that's cute.
on still. Yeah. So it was on still. And she was like, I love this show. And you got to catch up because it's like season 5. So I watched I watched it, speed watched it. And then when the new season started, we watched it together and watched it through the end. And it's like it was on Freeform, or it was like a CW kind of show about girls who one of their friends gets murdered. But
right,
then that
and then
friend
one of
starts
them is
texting
secretly
them.
texting, yeah.
From the grave, but it's actually just like a big conspiracy of some sort. But
Right.
it's so funny and stupid. It's a great show. So I gotta start watching that again.
Did you finish, a while back you were watching Vampire Diaries. Did you finish that?
That one just got so bad.
Oh.
We couldn't do it. That show is truly like what's the word for that show? It's like jazz, baby. Every episode they're just like, that's kind of like how, did you ever watch the Archie show? What was that, Riverdale?
No, I avoided that
Riverdale
one.
and Vampire Diaries are very similar, where it's like, remember what happened last episode? That doesn't matter anymore. Now this happened. Now this
Ah.
happened. Now this happened. And characters die. It's also weird because so many people die in that show that you start to like get the feeling that it's like kind of morbid to watch like the last year of this person's life and then they die. And it's like, oh, that was kind of just like sick. I don't want to see that person who I've known for like 10 seasons get snuffed because they just didn't want to be on this show anymore. It's like one of those shows where
Right.
it's like, I'm leaving. It's like, okay, I guess we're going to chop your head off. You didn't have to. You could have just let them not be on the show anymore.
Yeah, you could just walk off into the forest or something.
Sometimes people just move away and they
Yeah.
don't get their heads chopped off. So I never finished that one. And I think it was a lot because we hated the spinoff show so much. Which I can't remember, the originals, which I've heard gets really good, but it just was so boring. We couldn't do it. How about you?
Mostly rewatches or watching new seasons of old shows I think I've talked about before. We're still watching The Nanny, still getting through that.
Oh, yeah.
A show that does get worse in its later seasons.
Every show does, doesn't it? Including this one.
I think so. Yeah, but no one knows when our later seasons are going to be. So
it's true. It's a big
we still got
surprise.
like 30 years until we're bad.
They'd only know if they knew how long we were each going to live.
And if you know, don't tell us.
Wow, actually. Tell me both me and Matt's.
Well, I'd rather if they're going to tell one of us, you should tell me so I can schedule the rest of the podcast.
That's a good point. Matt needs...
Because if we're only getting 20 more episodes, we got to make those suckers count.
We got to really cram through it.
We're not going to watch any more Muppet Babies if we only get 20 more episodes of this podcast.
Yeah, I'm not spending the last.
We're skipping to Christmas. We're skipping to Christmas Carol. We're watching Treasure Island. We're watching the 2015 series.
I'm not spending the last 20 weeks of my life doing that. Thank you.
Bear in the Big Blue House. Who? So yeah, watching The Nanny. Watching the new season of The Reluctant Traveler.
I don't even know what that is. I don't think
it's the Eugene Levy travel show. Which is very fun. It's sort of got Travel Man vibes. If you ever watched the Richard Ayoade show, he's a Travel Man. High recommendations if you can find that to stream anywhere. This is different, but like the reluctant side of it is like he's not a man who likes to travel actually and do the traditional touristy things. But it's very nice. It makes me want to travel. The other travel show I'm watching at the same time is Conan O'Brien Must Go.
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to watch that. Is that any good?
It's okay. It's much more hit and miss than The Reluctant Traveler is. I think if you enjoy Conan at his most obnoxious,
oh, I do. I love.
You will love this show.
Okay, great.
There's just some moments where I'm like, I like Conan, but this is a bit much.
Okay, I like a bit much, so I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, there's just times where he really is leaning into the like, I can get away with this because like I can just keep talking and no one's going to stop me because I'm the host of this show. So I can keep doing this and I think this is funny, but nobody else is laughing.
Perfect. That's the thing I love the most.
Yeah, then you'll love it. Well, before we go, gotta let you know what we're watching next time. And Sam, guess what?
Is it more Muppet Babies?
It's more Muppet Babies.
No.
We'll be moving into November of 1986 with 3 more episodes of season 3 of Muppet Babies titled Fozzie's Family Tree.
Oh, we're not going to learn anything special or important in that one.
The Daily Muppet and Scooter's Uncommon Cold.
They're going to pretend to run a newspaper for one scene, and then it's going to turn into being about
Superman or something,
Titanic or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And Fozzie's Family Tree, they'll meet a polar bear. I'm gonna start guessing all these.
I like this idea.
And
a polar bear.
What's the last one?
Those Scooter's Uncommon Cold.
Different kind of bears. He'll be sick for half the episode, and then it'll turn into being about. Oh, they'll go into his body and be police officers or something like that's where they got the idea for
that to arrest the the virus.
Yeah.
Or
what was that movie called?
Magic School
Osmosis
Bus?
Osmosis Jones.
I was like, you must mean Fantastic Voyage or Magic School Bus, but no, you mean Osmosis Jones.
A movie we watched in health class.
Of course, obviously. Well, we need to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing that theme song. Don't forget, you can go to commitment.com to get all commitment things, new episodes, pictures of our faces, t-shirts. And you can rate and review this podcast wherever you listen to it. You can also email us at mail@commitment.com if you have any questions, or if you need to know that P.O. box again, or if you just want to say nice things about us.
Mhm.
You can also follow this podcast everywhere on social media, where we also like to hear nice things, at Commitment Pod. And you can follow me at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.